Okay, so I'm here with former captain at Downend Cricket Club, Michael Ponter, who took charge in 2005 for that season, hung up the boots in 2011 for the captaincy. Michael, firstly, you arrived in 2000. That was your first season at Downend. How did you find out about the club?
It was an interesting story. I'd actually planned on coming over to England and was originally supposed to go to Surrey League and play for Chard. It's a Chard Sheen, something like that. And about 3 weeks before the start of the season, I got a call from them saying that they'd been offered a county player, so they couldn't afford to have me. So I quickly got on to the agent to try and find another club, and Downend came to the fore, and I was in contact with Dave Elliott, the chairman at the time, to arrange coming over. So it was a very, very last minute thing, and it was a bit of a stroke of luck, really, how it happened.
And who was captain in 2000 when you joined?
2000, I think it might have been Jamie Skinner.
Okay, and what was he?
Jamie.
What was he like as a captain?
Jamie, well, he's a very talented player, liked by everyone. Captaincy, well, he did a fantastic job with the group that he had, and because of his personality, he kept everyone together, and everyone really enjoyed playing under him.
Brilliant. So from him being a captain to obviously then, if it was an overseas year and you came over to play, I guess you were due to go back in the autumn of 2000. Is that right?
That's right, yeah. So come August, the end of August, when the season finished, I was due to go back. I think I ended up staying a little bit longer to attend someone's wedding, someone quite close to you, in fact. And that was your father. So your
right.
parents' marriage was at the end of the season, and I think I stayed an extra week or so to attend that.
And you came back to Downend, obviously. Could you talk me through how that came about?
Same again. So I had a pretty good year first year, so I was invited back for a second year in 2001 and returned in early April.
In early April, and I guess then you stayed in England, and you still are in England now?
I stayed in England for that season.
Okay.
Then I went back to Australia at the end of the season. Where did I go? I ended up coming back to England, but playing in Yorkshire as the overseas professional up in Yorkshire for a club called Richmond.
Yeah.
And then 2003 and 2004, I was playing as the overseas professional in Birmingham for a club called Water Orton. And then in 2005, again returned. But it wasn't until the end of the 2003 season, that I stayed in England permanently.
Okay, so I see. So it was a case of coming over, being picked up by different clubs across the country, and then finally you made the decision to stick with it in England.
Yeah, so it was basically in my second year at Downend, I met my now wife. So I to and fro, went back to Australia, came back over to England, and back and forth for a couple of years. And then because my wife was from Bristol, we settled in Bristol, and the natural migration was to come back to Downend.
And I'm sure, well, many people have told me how good a player you were. I've seen you play personally, and I thought you were quite a good player. And you you were in charge, in 2005, and you captained until the end of the 2011 season. From that time that you were captain, who could you say was probably the best player that you've played with?
Oh, it's tricky. I mean, there's some players come and go. There's a couple of overseas players of note. AJ Nimala was a fantastic player. Vishnu Vardens was a fantastic player as well. And then there's the homegrown players, Matthew Jackson and Phil Jackson.
Yeah.
If I was to pick any two players, I'd have to, the core of the sides I captained were those two players. And there's no other players that really I could depend on as much as those two. Overseas players like Josh Barrett's and those sort of guys were fantastic players, but they were only here for 1 year. So as far as during my captaincy, the two players I always relied on were Matt and Phil Jackson.
And I think many people will agree who will listen to this and think that that's the exact same story at the moment. They're both obviously predominantly involved within the club and have been for years, and show their professionalism on and off the field with what they do. From the best player you've played with to the best player that you had watched at Downend, obviously you'd been in between a few clubs up and down the country, but can you remember anyone who you watched at Downend who you thought, that's a top player there?
As far as players I've played against, I mean, let's put aside the Lashings and things like that, where they're, these are international superstars. Yeah. Put them aside. Opposition players that I've played against, there's quite a few come to mind. Struggling now to actually bring names because I've got a terrible memory. But who was it? James Campbell at Bath, fantastic player, amazing fielder. Lloyd Davis at Bath as well, batting, bowling, fielding. An absolute legend off the field as well. Roger Sillance for Bristol played with us. Played for Downend for a couple of seasons as well. Early on in my time at Downend, and also against him was always a fierce competitor. Richard Trott for Thornbury, again, just fantastic competitor and longevity. I'm trying to think of the name of the chap at Foster.
Nick Traynor?
Nick Traynor was probably, in my mind, the best player. He was just, sometimes as a captain, you're sort of sitting there trying to work out, bowl the top of off stump. Fantastic, yeah, he just worked that away nice and easy, okay. Give him some short stuff, it's easy for him as well. He was just a fantastic player, and he just accumulate runs non-stop. I think they put Nick Traynor as the best player I've watched as a opposition player at Downend.
From the best player you've played with and the best player you've watched, you made your captaincy debut actually. Can you remember it?
Not particularly, no. It was sort of a bit of a loose thing, really. I'd come back to Downend from a few seasons away, and taken over from Jamie Skinner, and it was just sort of fell into place, really. As the overseas professional, you're sort of almost semi-captaining anyway. You're sort of assisting the captain with, they're coming to you for advice on field placings and batting orders and who should bowl when. So you're almost doing it anyway. So it was just a fairly natural, sort of transition into it. It was almost unnoticeable. So as far as the first game that I was captain, I honestly couldn't remember it. I couldn't tell you who it was against. It was probably in Whipple 2.
Yeah, it was.
I couldn't tell you who we were against, to be honest.
So you played against Westbury and District Cricket Club in Wiltshire. You lost by 129 runs as your first game as captain.
Awesome.
But on a personal note, you got 42 off of 47 balls, so it's not all bad. And that season, it looks like you were consistently around 40 to 130. So
okay.
Yeah, I think everyone will take their hats off to you for that.
Yeah, I to be honest, when you're sort of captaining a side, very little of what your own stats are irrelevant. All you're doing is doing what you can to get the team across the line or try and win. I've never been one for remembering how many runs I got or how many wickets I got or anything like that. It's more such a focus on what everyone else is doing, to be honest, and trying to get them to do the best they can.
And can you remember your highest score for Downend at all?
Not a clue, to be honest. Scored a few centuries, trying to think of any notable ones. One down at Taunton. The only reason it was notable, it was against Taunton Dean. And the main reason it was notable because Matt Jackson and myself, I think we both got hundreds. And it was a losing draw. They scored about 360 or something silly like that. And we ended up with three or four down for 330. But the most notable thing was I think I bowled the last over of the game, and the first 5 balls of my over went for 30. 6 666. So the last ball of the over, I'm thinking, please. I bowled the worst ball I bowled, and luckily enough, he missed it. This was a young chap, John Francis, and I think he was on about 150 before the start of the over, and he ended up with 180 on. Yeah, that's probably the only reason I remember that game so well, is because of is my failure more than my success. But I do remember getting 100 in that game. But now I wouldn't have a clue what my highest score was, who I was against, or anything like that.
Yeah, that's fine, no problem. But like, of course, you noticed that century. Would there be any chance you could notice probably a best highlight from your time as captain at Downend?
Captain, I do remember one game in particular. It wasn't anything I did. It was against Westbury, and it was more to do with our overseas player at the time, Vishnu Gardens. We were up against it. We were chasing down a fairly modest total, to be honest, and we were doing okay. And they lost a few wickets. They had a South African spin bowler who was, had a very jolty action. Let's say that he chucked it, and. So there was a bit of tension out there, and we were sort of falling further and further behind the run rate, and down to our last couple of wickets. And Vishnu went out there and said, in his Indian accent, "Don't worry, boys, I've got this. I'll smash them out of the park." And sure enough, he went out there and basically just hit every other ball for 6 or 4 on a very big ground, and got us over the line. I remember it being one of the greatest feelings as a captain, because we were under the pump. And we were fighting to win that game, and it was great to come out so unexpectedly at the end of that game.
I was going to just ask you quickly as well about, obviously, you stopped captaining in the 2011 season and handed it over to Matt Jackson in 2012, who only gave it up the other year. But I can always remember, Ponce, that obviously with your work commitments as well, you worked mainly Saturdays, and I think it was only a few in the season you were available. It's probably in 2015, and it's quite recent, and anytime you come back you go straight into that first team. So what did that mean to you, having that kind of that skill to just come back and walk straight back into the first team? It must say something to yourself about how good of a player you were.
I don't know about that. If I was available to play, I always say to any of the captains, if I'm available to play and I'm happy to play, I'll play wherever you want me to play. I wasn't too proud to play in the lower grades if that's where I was wanted. If that's where I was needed. But more often than not, if I was available, the captain would ask me to play in the first team.
Yeah.
And it is, in a little way, it's a little bit embarrassing, but also a little bit of a pat on the back as well. It's embarrassing to think, there's other players that are, trying their heart out in the second team, trying to get in the first team, and I wander back in and stroll back in. It's like feel a little bit bad, but then, also it's a bit of a pat on the back, thinking, well, if the captain thinks I'm good enough to wander straight back in, it's a bit of a nod.
Yeah, 100%. And after you finished captaining and you played under Matt Jackson, can you remember any highlights from that era?
Not really. I was really pleased to hand over to Matt. It's a lot of, like your dad mentioned yesterday in the other interview, captaining is stressful. It takes a lot of your not just your playing time and your thought process whilst you're playing, and you don't get as much time to focus on your own performance. You're worried about everyone else's and what to do. It also takes a fair bit of your personal time as well in organising teams. So I sort of groomed Matt to take over. I gave him a couple of years' notice to basically say, in a couple of years' time, this is yours, kid. I can't do this forever. So he took that role on fantastic. I think basically the first year I helped him out with a bit of the off-field stuff. On field, I was always there for advice. But sort of come the second and third year of Matt taking over, he's such a insightful cricketer himself. He reads situations so well, that I was always there to be, for him to bend my ear. But more often than not, all I was doing was agreeing with whatever he was suggesting because, to me it was the right thing to do, and he's fantastic. It's probably one of my proudest things at Downing was, being able to hand over the captaincy to someone who's then taken on the baton for another 6 years, 6 or 7 years, and carried that on as well. And he's hopefully done the same. To transition to the next person. Time will tell.
Yeah, and time will tell. And we've gone through the time, Ponce. We've gone from arriving in the club in 2000 to being captain in 2005, and then eventually not captaining in the 2012 season and handing it over to Matt, as you just said. The club's moved on rapidly since then, and we're now in, a global pandemic, and it's not looking good for cricketing sides this summer. But the club going forward off the field is, from my eyes, is magnificent, and my dad touched on it just a bit yesterday, how the work off the field was fantastic. But can you see, from someone who regularly comes up to have a pint and catch up with old friends and former players, is it somewhere that you would want to go regularly?
Absolutely, yeah. It's one thing I always say to wife and family is I don't spend enough time up there, which doesn't always, it's not always met with a positive response. But it was a tough place to go when we had young kids, because there was nowhere around the ground, because it's such a small ground. There was nowhere around the ground for young kids to just play, and you always had to basically be there ready in case the ball came towards them. So it was quite stressful. But now, with the kids being a bit older, it's certainly a place that I'd love to be popping up there every Saturday. It's a shame you touched on earlier, the current situation we're in, and the possible likelihood that there won't be any cricket this year. It's such a shame, because I was planning a full comeback this year as well. That may have put that, I have to put that one on the back burner and see how I pull up for next year. But, it's a bit of a shame. I was going to target 1,000 runs and 50 wickets this year, but, who knows whether that would have ever happened.
Who knows? And Ponce, Michael, thank you very much for taking some time out of your evening. I mean, you're probably not doing a lot, as cheeky as that sounds, but thank you very much for giving me the time to do this.
Pleasure, Ollie. Thanks very much, mate. Keep up the good work.